Part 2. Remember in our Goddess of Reason video a long time ago when we discovered America's fathers were not Christian whatsoever? Oh no. They, just like the first official state religion of their French revolutionary financiers, they were Catholic hating worshippers of the Goddess of Reason. You remember when Wikipedia under Cult of Reason, subtitle Composition, told us, cutting to the chase, quote, it was atheistic, but celebrated different core principles according to locale and leadership. Most famous was reason, but others were liberty, nature, and the victory of the revolution. Stop. Bingo. Why bingo, you ponder? Because this is the real reason why, as Wikipedia would tell us, quote, he authored the two most influential pamphlets at the start of the American Revolution. You know, Thomas Paine. This is the real reason. He titled his book The Age of Reason and said this, quote, take away from Genesis the belief that Moses was the author, on which only the strange believe that it is the word of God that he stood, and there remains nothing of Genesis but an anonymous book of stories, fables, and traditionary or invented absurdities or of downright lies. So when we couple his information with the information we're about to read under Festival of Reason, quote, in ceremonies devised and organized by Tromete, churches across France were transformed into modern temples of reason. The largest ceremony of all was at the Cathedral of Notre Dame in Paris. The Christian altar was dismantled and an altar to liberty was installed, and the inscription, personal quote, to philosophy, was carved in stone over the cathedral doors. Listen up for Lady Liberty. Quote, festive girls in white Roman dress and tricolor sashes milled around a costumed goddess of reason who impersonated liberty. A flame burnt on the altar which was symbolic of truth. Now when we read this, I remember I told you then the men of power on the earth were really chick worshippers. And remember our Genesis 3 serpent understanding? You know, the serpent is a chick that has breasts. You remember? We backed that discovery up with finding out the scriptures attest, Lamentations to be exact, we are sucking on the mammary glands of serpents, as in Israel's minds are being reprobated through serpent doctrine, and we are looking at the world through serpent eyes. Hence, while the modern black man think, feel, act, and do the exact same things chicks do. Thus, why they deserve their domestication and chains. But I'm getting off my soapbox. One last question. Remember the video where we exposed the Watchman's chick for rewriting the Bible? You remember when they did the movie trailer and rearranged the scriptures and context to deceive you to perceive and believe Eve was also present and it helped Adam name things? And I told you then the serpent chick was laying in wait till crunch time and then will spring into action. I can't hear any of your answers because this is a video. But if you remember any of that stuff, check out a transcript of the same conference. But this time, it's Ivanka Trump. I'm going to let the beat rock so you can understand the future without my big mouth. Quote, this is Ivanka Trump. The president launched this initiative through a national security presidential memorandum. It was very important to him, and this is stated in the National Security Strategy of the United States of America, that societies that empower women to succeed are more peaceful and more prosperous. This is evident in all the research that we see. In countries where there is the greatest gender disparity, there is also the highest likelihood of conflict. There's also the likelihood to solve threats with immediate violence, as opposed to a negotiated diplomatic response. So the correlation between women's economic empowerment and national security is there. So this is just simple put good defense policy. But it's also in countries' economic interests. That's it. But it's also in countries' economic interests. So it's a social justice issue, an economic issue, it's a defense issue, and it just plain makes sense. One of the things that I'm very proud of, and the members of Congress are here with us today, actively participated in, is the United States is the first country in the world to sign into law a stipulation that women must be at the table when negotiations of peace are held. The Women's Peace and Security Act. This was signed into law after years of hard work by many people on both sides of the aisle and signed into law by President Trump in 2017. The guidance is coming out this month. On how it's going to be rolled out. But it follows up on UN stipulations and suggestions on this front. But we are the first country to actually require it because it makes sense. Peace deals, when women participate in negotiating them, sustain far longer, 35% longer, 35% longer than if women are excluded from the dialogue. And that is irrational because we comprise 50% of most populations. Example. Of course, she just pulled that ridiculous stat out of her skinny lily white ass. But, as you can plainly see, the chick is back. Men are gonna be in trouble. This was passed by a Republican House and Senate, people. And just in case you think I'm just tripping, check out this headline. According to the Telegraph UK, under "Women will only be jailed for serious crimes," Justice Secretary reveals. June 27th, 2018. Gentlemen and ladies who understand, endure.